Jeanette.
It's on.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, and I will call to order the Madison Common Council Executive Committee meeting. Staff, please call the roll, or Karen, please call the roll.
I think you have to turn me on.
Oh, turn you on.
It's here. That one. Yeah, and you're on still. I'm sorry.
Here.
I think you turned. President Madison.
Here.
President Madison is present. Vice President Glenn. Here. Vice President Glenn is present. Alder Ugair. Here. Alder Ugair is present. Alder Ochovitz. I'll come back to him. Alder Jung. Here. Alder Jung is present. Alder Lieberman. Here. Alder Lieberman is present. Alder Lankella. Here. Alder Lankella is present. Alder Vitiver. Here. Alder Vitiver is present. And until or unless Alder Ochovitz comes, you are currently voting. All right, we have quorum.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 10th, 2026, Common Council Executive Committee meeting. Vice President Glenn, a motion on the minutes? Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Is there any objection to record a unanimous vote? Seeing no objections, we will record a unanimous vote to approve the minutes from March 10th, 2026. Next on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any registrant speakers?
We do not.
Thank you. Oh, so there's no speaker. So we're moving on to disclosures and or recusals. So members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethic code. Are there any disclosures or recusals? Seeing no hands up, let's move on to the items in the agenda. So first up, we have on the agenda item 2, Legislature item 93155, a presentation by Parks Alive. She's not here yet.
So maybe we move to Isaac.
And let me double check
they
here.
don't mind.
Nope, I don't see him there. So does the body mind if we just move on to agenda item 3? Nope. All right, so we're just going to move to item 3, which is Legislature item 93156, public comment collection and retention process, presented by Isaac. Isaac is available.
I will share my screen 1 second. Okay. All right, can everyone see that? All right, has it popped up yet? Can someone give me a vocal confirmation if it's good? Okay.
Yes, you're good, Isaac.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, well, good afternoon. Over the past couple weeks, our office received some questions and feedback on the process of uploading public comments to Legistar, so we figured we'd give a bit of a process overview and go over what we're now testing in response to the feedback we had received. So to start, I'll go over some of the steps that I take when saving and uploading public comments. So first, as you all receive in your inbox, a constituent will write into the all alders email address about an item coming before the council. I will then go and identify what the item and associated file number that email is addressing, save it as a PDF within a folder for that file. As we receive public comments throughout the weeks leading up to the Common Council meeting, I'll repeat that process as we receive more and more public comments. Then, when we're ready to upload them into Legistar, locate the folder that contains these public comments, and if there's multiple, which there often are. I'll combine them using Adobe Acrobat so that they can get uploaded into one kind of like binder, so that they can all be read at once in one file. These are then saved. I'll go into Legistar, locate the item, upload the public comments to that software. I will note that this is only for non-ordinance items. All ordinances are handled by the Office of the City Attorney. And so in that case, I do this really the same process, but at the kind of end of the process, I email the compiled public comments to the ordinance revision specialist in their office, who then uploads it to Legistar. They always confirm, usually within 5 minutes, typically, that it has been uploaded. And this process is then repeated for each item that has received public comments. And so I'm sure you all are at least generally aware of the volume of public comments that we receive since they're delivered to your inbox. But here are some statistics from the past couple of years showing the number of public comments we received in the All Alders inbox. As you can see, 2023 had 1,275 comments, 2024 had 1,569 comments, and 2025 had 735 comments. So there's a range here, but when you average them out per day, you have approximately between 2 and 5 public comments each day. However, I think we all know that this isn't how public comments really flow into our inboxes. There will be days, even weeks, where we receive no or 1 public comment, and then there will be a day or even an hour where we receive dozens kind of all at once. And so that brings me to some of the considerations we try and keep in mind with our process for uploading public comments. So first and foremost, we want to ensure accuracy in uploading these public comments. And by that, I mean we want to ensure that every single public comment we receive gets saved and uploaded, making sure to not really leave any behind. Additionally, we want to be consistent in doing this process. We want to make sure that every item, every constituent, every public comment is treated the same as others, which means that we have these sort of consistent times and an overall process for uploading public comments. And lastly, we want this to be an efficient process. And so this is both efficiency for residents and alders who are accessing these public comments. By that, I mean, we're aiming to have them compiled into as few files as possible so that they can be read and accessed more efficiently. But also talking about efficiency for the Common Council office. While I'm in charge of uploading public comments, this is really only a small portion of the responsibilities I have within my role. Therefore, I need to be mindful of how to make this process efficient. It would be really great if every public comment could be uploaded into this like already existing compiled binder in Legistar instantaneously. But really, that's not something that's doable within the overall workflow. And so here's the process that we have been operating under up until kind of a couple council meetings ago, from the time that I took over uploading public comments about 3 years ago or so. We would receive public comments leading up to a council meeting, and then near the end of the day on council meeting days, so on Tuesdays, I would take every public comment I saved, compile them into batches for their respective items, get them uploaded or sent over to the attorney's office, who would then upload them at that time. Then, as you all are likely aware, we typically receive public comments in the hours and minutes right before council meetings, as well as some that come in during council meetings themselves. So I'd compile those when I'm back in the office on Wednesday morning, and get them uploaded. And so now, in response to some feedback we received, we're attempting a bit of a new process, and kind of in short and summary, we're adding an additional time to upload public comments. Now on Fridays before council meetings, we'll do kind of a first go at it. We'll upload all files we've saved prior to then. Then on council meeting days like today, we'll do another upload for any comments we've received between Friday and that council meeting day, Tuesday. And then the same Wednesday final upload. And so this has been kind of the process we've been testing out for the past Common Council meeting, as well as tonight's upcoming one. And so it's been about a month or so. I would say I don't necessarily have any strong like anecdotal data to say that we're going to cement this process right now, especially as these past 2 meetings have received, I would say, relatively low amounts of public comments compared to others and other past ones. So anticipate we'll continue testing this process through a couple more meetings, including ones with a higher volume of public comments, and see how it holds up through these. And from there, either adopt this process or tweak it as is needed. So that's the end of the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Isaac? Alder Uguer?
Thank you, President. First, let me apologize. That big number that came in 2024, I was probably personally responsible for a large piece of that, and I'm sure it kept you very busy.
No worries.
A couple of questions. Sometimes we'll get comments that are somewhat ahead of the actual assignment of Legistar numbers and agenda items. What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, so usually when there is one that has a Legistar number, I immediately create a file, a folder in my U drive that has that number. But in the scenario that you're talking about where it's talking about something that is upcoming, being developed, typically I'll save it under the broader topic that it's talking about, and keep an eye out for when that is then assigned a number and it is on the agenda. So
okay. Second question, you've got that bifurcated process between resolutions and ordinances. Sometimes there will be comments. I'm thinking particularly about Plan Commission agendas where we'll have an ordinance change for zoning, but then we'll also have resolutions that are related to conditional use permits, et cetera. What do you do when a comment covers both of those?
yeah, if it's specifically about both an ordinance and a resolution, or if they're commenting on multiple files in one email, I'll save it in each. I'll save it individually in each file and upload it for each of those relevant items.
Okay, then what's probably my final question. Alders get comments from people who are not familiar with how to send them so that you could use the process that you've described. And I'm just wondering if what are efficient ways for an alder to forward that information to the proper place and with the proper identifications to make your job as easy as possible. But those are important public comments that we want to be sure we capture, even though they didn't use the process through the city website.
Sure. Yeah. If an alder is receiving something that's meant as a public comment in their individual district inbox, we obviously as staff won't receive it. So if it is meant for public comment, it would be great if you could forward it to myself as well as maybe CC Karen and let us know that, hey, this constituent is attempting public comment on X item.
Okay.
And then we'll save it and get it uploaded.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate all this information. I always wondered how that happened.
Alder Vitterer?
Thank you. My question is, there's comments that come in for all the boards, commissions, and committees too. Do they use a similar process or do they do a different process?
Yeah, I don't know the exact processes for other BCCs. It's kind of up to them, where our office is only responsible for the Common Council, public comments that we receive. So I do see when I'm in Legistar that other BCCs do upload public comments, and it seems that there are similar but also some differences in how they're uploaded. But I don't know the exact timelines that they use and things like that, nor do I know the volumes that they receive.
And then you mentioned, I think, the dream, which would be that the emails would come in and automatically populate Legistar.
Sure.
Is there any process that we could figure out that would get us towards that?
Not that I'm personally aware of existing. Yeah, not that I'm aware of. It kind of has to be, at least in its current function, a multi-step approach, considering not all constituents identify the item that it's going to. So then it takes staff time to determine, okay, this is going to file number blank, and then so on and so forth. So I'm not sure that there's even really a possible way for it to get automated in that way. It looks like Karen is their hand up.
So this has actually come up in the past, 2019, I believe, 2020. And there were some limitations to the Legistar that we have because of our size and our need to customize. I believe I flagged this again for IT not that long ago to just revisit. I'm trying to go back through some of the things that had been brought up in the past to see where are we, is the situation still the same, that it's not feasible, or is it feasible, under which conditions? So I would follow up with IT on that. So it hasn't been completely forgotten about. But last time we talked about it, it didn't sound very feasible, but I'll look back into it.
I'm just thinking about the way folks register for items to speak, and if we could sort of use that process and have them send their comments through that might be a way to pull it in a single way. I don't know, but I don't know what the capacity is. So, thank you.
Thanks, Alder Vitever. Alder Zhang, sorry.
Yeah. Are there any messages that get excluded?
Not that I can recall. Yeah, I can't imagine a scenario where we would exclude a public comment. Potentially no, I can't even really think of a scenario. Karen?
Is it all right? Yeah. One thing what did happen fairly recently is somebody emailed in and said, I made a comment, but I want X, Y, and Z piece of it redacted before it's uploaded. And I believe I don't know, Isaac, if we could speak to what we did with that one.
In that scenario, we reached out to them and said, please resend your public comment with the relevant information that you want redacted, excluded from that email, and then we will upload it. So there are times where we'll work with someone who's attempting to give public comment to either clarify or things like that. But I don't know of a situation where we would exclude a public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Okowitz.
Thank you, President. What is the upload schedule for the weeks before Common Council meeting? Not the Friday before, but like if you get a comment like 2 weeks before, do you upload it that Friday? Is there a regular schedule?
I do just the Friday. Well, now I just do the Fridays before the Common Council meeting and then the Tuesday then the Wednesday after. So let's say someone sends a public comment on Thursday for an item coming up in 2 weeks on the Common Council meeting. It would get uploaded on the Friday prior to the council meeting.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just wondering if I get questions, like if somebody emails after something's been seen in committee and Common Council is going to see it next. I'm just wondering, in case somebody asks, I want to make sure I understand.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Sure.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you. To answer Alder Vitever's question, like Isaac said, every commission does it differently. Like Plan Commission has a deadline, and also they group everything into one PDF file, like groups of PDF files that they load to Legistar. And ironically, I was trying to figure out if I would be able to make a meeting for urban design, and in the agenda, they actually also have a disclaimer there, which may be something that we should consider, explaining that write reading comments, you can send the reading comments to this address. And please note that comments received after 3 p.m. the day of the meeting may not be added to the public record until after the meeting. So they actually use their agenda to also communicate to the public what the policy is. So yes, everybody does it differently, but those are two examples that I'm aware of that may be considered here too. Thank you.
Alder Lankella.
Thank you, Madam President. This is related to the exclusion that we just talked about. I'd seen when the same registrant submits multiple times, I've seen them repeating multiple times. Is there something that you can actually consolidate?
We do attempt to put all public comments in one file, and so I take it you're saying in a situation where they're sending the exact same email multiple times. I tend to include them just because I want to include every public comment that has been offered. However, I think in a situation where someone sends it 3 times within a minute, that's the exact same text, I typically think this is an error of them, like some IT glitch, if it's the exact same public comment, and upload it just once. But yeah, typically include every single one if they have sent it one day and then the next week as well. I'll include both.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. All right, so we will go back to agenda item 2, which is the Parks Alive presentation. And we do have Deborah Allen available from Parks.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I apologize for missing my time. I mistook the time. Can I share my screen?
I believe you should have a share screen button at the bottom middle of your screen.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. My office just went dark. Okay, thank you all so much for making time to talk with me today. I would love to share with you our insights on Parks Alive and some of the ways in which your body can support us. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an origin story. Parks Alive was a collaborative effort across 19 city and county departments involving over 55 at this point, community-based stakeholders and mobile resources. The first Parks Alive took place in 2022, that's before I got here, and was programmed by a backbone cross-departmental team of 8 city staff. Part of what helped create Parks Alive was the recognition that there was an interconnected role between community activation and violence prevention. So this program was advocated for very heavily by the NRTs and was supported by the mayor. And it aimed at the time at building strong neighborhoods and enhancing neighborhood-based violence prevention efforts. It integrated violence prevention recommendations from the Madison-Dane County Violence Prevention Roadmap document, that's a long one, and the Violence Prevention Coalition that I'm a part of, as well as the recommendations from our trusted colleagues here at the city. So people always ask, what is Parks Alive? And it's something that I asked too when I first started, and everyone said, you just got to go, you just got to experience it, and you'll understand. And through conducting over 100 Parks Alive events at this point, I can say that Parks Alive is community building, placemaking, resident engagement, and a safer neighborhood strategy. Now, what it also is a party in the park, right? But what it's for comes up later. We really focus on targeting neighborhoods. So we focus on neighborhoods with an NRT, a neighborhood resource team, and those teams are used to elevate the needs and issues of residents in these areas. Our resource allocation has to be very specific. We micro target to get resources directly to the intended populations. And that also means that we don't use traditional media or social media, but we use word of mouth. We use our partners to share our information and just, word of mouth and personal experiences. And again, this is designed as a positive countermeasure to neighborhoods experiencing violence or resource deficits. This is a truly collaborative effort. It involves multiple city and county departments, multiple residents, community-based stakeholders, mobile resources, friends, family. A lot of people come together to make Parks Alive happen. And it also happens with our partnerships, our collaborations with nonprofits and neighborhood groups. And they help us to provide recreational, educational, and interactive options on site. So this I call the Parks Alive Matrix, and this is really the full description of everything that we're doing at Parks Alive. So like I said before, Parks Alive on its face is a party in the park for that neighborhood. But what we're trying to accomplish at every Parks Alive event is this. So I'll start off, fun and play, we are Parks, and that's what we do here at Parks. We try to make sure that everyone is having a good time and, moving their body. We share food because that is a universal. Oh, wait. That is a
Excuse
universal.
me, Deborah, just a quick
Yeah?
note. Are you trying to advance the slides? I think on our screen, we're just still
Yeah.
seeing the main slide.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries.
Let me try to get out of here then. Maybe I'll come out of presenter mode and just have it in. Ooh, you guys are far behind. Okay. So we're on this screen here. Can you see the giant pie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. So here is the most important part of what you didn't need to see anything before. So fun and play, sharing food. Sharing food is a universal way of saying we come in peace. We're here to be friends. And so across cultures, we would break bread and share a meal together when we're trying to get to know each other and we're mouth friends. And at every Parks Alive, all of the food is free. Everything's free at Parks Alive, but specifically the food as well. Exposure to new skills. We all know that by learning new things, you open your horizons and see a future for yourself doing different and new things. And so we try our best to include new activities, unusual and unique activities at Parks Alive so that residents can engage with those activities. Again, being as a part of parks, outdoor activities are really important to us. Now, I would call myself an indoor cat, but even I go to Parks Alive and have a really good time. We provide, handouts that encourage people to use the parks and their bodies. So we would give kites and discs and jump ropes and other kind of activities that get people moving and shaking in the park. One of the main reasons why Parks Alive was created, among others, was because residents said that they needed a place to meet each other. In many of the communities that we do Parks Alive in, there are apartment buildings or renters where people feel very transient and not connected. And so by creating this event that is going to be standard, that happens all the time, we facilitate that opportunity for people to get together and meet each other. The next tile is community police relationship. And this is a huge concept for a really small tile. We know that improved relationships with these structures create better outcomes in emergency situations and otherwise. And so we encourage our police, fire, rangers, and all to come and participate in Parks Alive And it creates an opportunity for people to have engagement outside of a crisis situation, playing Jenga or basketball or sharing an ice cream. And I'm not deluded into thinking that that's going to fix all of the problems that exist in this dynamic, but it's a step towards the community and the police forming a relationship. So learning about city resources, like I said earlier, so many city departments came together to make Parks Alive happen, but also come to Parks Alive. I myself, I registered to vote at Parks Alive, and I signed up for my library card at Parks Alive. And so having these services really just offer the opportunity for people to learn about city resources, but also to access city resources at the park. And even if they're not accessing resources themselves, having city staff there that can talk to them about things that they may be experiencing or be able to provide some guidance really helps people feel a sense of empowerment and ownership around their municipal services. Many times many under-resourced people don't understand that there are these resources open and available for them at the city, and that's a huge part of what we try to do on site. In the same vein, we have them discover community resources. I myself learned about the Children's Museum through doing Parks Alive, and so many other people learn about the senior centers, teen centers, events and programs that are taking place right in their community. Again, giving them the opportunity to have access and information about these things, but also to sample it on a small scale on site, whether it's through doing activities or getting information or talking to staff that's there. The final tile is one that came out of my equity work with Parks. So I'm the Parks equity co-lead. And one of the things that we can notice as we doom scroll, which I do, I confess, is that we see a lot of really unsavory interactions taking place, and many of them take place in civic space, in green civic space, in parks. And so a place that's so rich in parks, we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome, right? So there are certain people that are traditional park users, let's call it that, and non-traditional park users. And there are many historic and problematic reasons for those distinctions. But either which way, we want to make sure that traditional park users can continue using the park and non-traditional park users feel safe and comfortable being in that space. And we believe that the more that we can do personal invitations for people who are reticent to use parks and normalize their presence in the park, the more we can reduce those interactions that have friction. And so these are all things that we're doing in the park every single time that we're out there, all 33 times that we're out there. And as a result, we expect that we're going to increase connection and reduce loneliness. And I have had many personal interactions with people who say, I haven't spoken to anyone in 3 weeks. I retired and now I live alone and I don't talk to anyone. Loneliness comes in many different shapes and forms, whether it's through language barriers or whether it's through just not having people around. And we want everyone to be able to come to the park and feel a sense of connection with us and with their neighbors. Of course, we know that touching grass, getting that vitamin D on your face, getting the sun in your eyes improves mental and physical health. And we're so rich in parks in Madison that we want people to feel empowered and free to engage in the parks for this reason, to improve their mental and physical health. We want to increase trust with our neighbors. We want them to trust us, trust each other, and begin to trust in the resources that are here and available for them. And part of that is showing up. And again, increasing engagement with resources helps people to be able to feel empowered and to be able to access things that they need and that they're interested in. Now, we all know that well-resourced communities are able to do all of these things. They're able to do it on their own strength, on their own time. And so for us, kind of being able to come into communities and kind of offer this service, we are providing them with what other well-resourced neighborhoods have all the time. And we're hoping that through these efforts and these connections that are made, we can improve, I don't even like using that word, but we can help foster and build safer communities. So for those of you who are more, you like to work with numbers, here are some numbers for you. Last year, we had a total average participation of 4,230 people. That's an 11% increase from last year. Our average participants per event is 141 participants per event, and that is a 19% increase. Now, last year we were unable to do as much counting as we have been able to do in the past, just because at a certain point when we have so much going on, we have to kind of prioritize what are the things that need doing more. And sometimes we're like, okay, forget counting. Let's just work on the ice cream or the popcorn or whatever it is that we're doing. Our last recorded attendance, our largest recorded attendance was 343 people. And again, we had to abandon counting. We're like, all hands on deck. So we estimate that we're getting much more, close to 400 participants at some parks. And that's a good thing, right? People see our green tent and they're like, yep, Parks Alive is there, I'm going. We had about 82 on-site support and volunteers throughout the 33 events. And in general, we have a very high satisfaction ratings on the service that we're able to do. Here's some more numbers. We had 9 live music performances. We had steel pan, we had rap and hip hop, we had blues, we had jazz, we had big band jazz. It was amazing. We had lots of different opportunities. We partnered with the Jazz Society and was able to bring opportunities to the community. We had 11 parks, which was an increase from 9 parks, 12 food trucks, 14 movies, donations of ice cream at all events, and completed so many sports and games activities. One of the ways, in one of the numbers where we fall is that we struggle to get on-site support. On-site support really helps us to create a safe and fun environment. We want to be able to provide high quality of service. And the more that we have, the more that we are fully staffed, the better we're able to provide that service. And last year we only had 40% of the on-site support that we require. So we're doing some things to get more people to sign up, but we're also asking you to use your influence in your spheres of influence to help us. There are tons of reasons why we need increased staffing, high quality service, more information, have more person-to-person interaction so everybody can be spoken to. Just, making it easier for the volunteers that do come, the more of us, the easier and easier time of it that we'll all have. But the agency and city benefits is that we're able to capitalize on this facilitated engagement. People are already there, they're relaxed, they're having food, they're having ice cream, they're engaging. It's a perfect time for us to engage with the community on their terms. It creates a culture of collaboration among city employees and volunteers and community resources. And it works, for helping us to build a stronger team. And it helps us to deliver on our service promise, to show up and be consistent and reliable for the neighborhoods, for people to feel safe, respected, and seen. There are tons of things I could say, but ways in which that you can help. If you sign up, you can help us to greet, be bilingual support if you have those skills, to food, help us to set up and break down, distribute flyers, help us to keep track with our numbers, collect our data, and do different activities on site. A typical day is from 4:30 to 7:30. We set up from 4:30, start at 5. The event, the music and food start at 5. And then we finish at 7 and we try to make sure we leave the park the way that we found it, being good stewards of the environment. And how people can sign up is through the park's volunteer site. So you can go to the City of Madison volunteer, and this is the page that you'll see here on the right. And down there at special events, that's the Parks Alive green tent. But you can also follow this link that I can share with you to sign up. It will take you directly to the volunteer site where you will see all of the parks that we're hosting Parks Alive in. You click one of those and you're able to see the dates and select those. Once you do that, you'll receive a confirmation email. You'll get 2 reminder emails and you'll be able to add it to your calendar. Of course, when you set up for the first time, you're going to have to create a login, a password. If you shop online, you know how to do this. So go in, fill out the information, and then we'll see you in the park. These are all of I had some help from our GIS specialist. Thank you, Hannah, in showing me all of the districts and the parks that are associated, and also the NRTs that are associated. But I know that there are more of you. And so, of course, we welcome every single person that's in Madison that's able to and interested to show up in a really trauma advised way to spend time with our community and help us to continue our work. And so I would love to leave time for questions. I don't want to go over. Here's some cute pictures. And that's it for me. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Deborah. Also, too, if you wouldn't mind emailing the presentation to Karen. Thank you.
I will.
Thanks. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you, Deborah. So that last comment that you mentioned there, that there's 20 alders and just a few that have NRTs in their districts, but that you're welcome. We are all welcome to show up at these events. Can you also discuss the resources that we have on funding that limit us to, how much people we can serve? Can you explain that also, please?
So, thank you for that question. So we budget to serve around 100 to 130 people. And so it's kind of a good and a bad problem, right? So more people are showing up to Parks Alive, more people are hearing about Parks Alive, and more people are showing up. And so we have to kind of stretch resources and, massage our budget so that we can make sure that each person can, have access to what we're serving. We already have our vendors provide a snack size when it comes to food. So it's not dinner, it's not a lot. So there isn't really a way to scale down on what people get. So usually we have to kind of do some math and offer, incentives for people to serve more. But over the last 4 years, we know the price of food and fuel has increased. And so we don't want it to reach an equilibrium where what people can offer is so small that it feels, not hospitable. But we also don't want the vendors that do decide to work with us to operate at a loss, because they're also part of our constituent that we want to support. We have about 2 or 3 vendors that we have actually gotten from the communities that we work in to be a part of our roster. So we really want to continue to provide for them. And so each year it's becoming increasingly a little bit more difficult to make sure that we can provide enough food, honestly, for the site.
Thank you. So again, we are trying to serve these areas because they're NRTs and they need a little bit more support than other areas in the city. So it's not like people are not welcome. It's just like we really wanted to focus on the people in that neighborhood. And then for the communities that don't have NRTs, how can they contact you or parks or whatever for them to replicate this program in their own communities with with different sources of funding. For example, is that a mechanism for other alders or community members that want to duplicate this, for them to get our process or, feedback on how to make it happen without necessarily being supported by the limited financial strengths that we have with the city budget?
So I know that's something that Anne Friedwald was working on prior to her resigning. I think that if someone is trying to replicate something like this, we can definitely help. I mean, we're parks and we do this all the time. There isn't like a full package that's just ready for someone to plug in and play, because again, we do a lot of collaborations with a lot of people. But we encourage people to try to enliven their communities with activities. So I know that one of my colleagues does events, like does movies, and also has like activities, hula hoops, games, and things like that. So I think there's a way to kind of contact and try to schedule one of those in a community, but I don't know if it would be as robust as Parks Alive is. But I know that our partners are really interested in doing community work as well, and so we can support someone trying to accomplish that.
And lastly, thank you. Lastly, remind me how many screens do we have for movies at the park then?
I think last year we did 14.
But how many of those screens do we have? Is it only one?
Oh, I think it's one.
Okay. Yeah, which also something to consider in the future, that people can ask for that if we have more. So again, it will be a council decision to try to invest on that we can expand at least that program that is more precise into other parts that are not NRTs in the future.
Additionally, so that's also a partnership. So there are the Steiner Davis Movies in the Park program that operates at Parks Alive, but not exclusively. So they partner with us to help us with our event, but they do other films in other communities as well that are not NRT communities. So there's that part.
Yep, like the Glen, for example, this wouldn't be an NRT community, but they also do movies there. So there are other options that communities that are in NRTs that we can support in other ways. We just have to communicate and really keep the spirit of this one, focus on the communities that need the more support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alder Figueroa Cole. Thanks again, Deborah.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, I don't see any other questions, both in person or virtual. So moving on to our next agenda item, which is common council or council leadership updates, which I will give these updates. Okay. So I guess the first thing I wanted to ask if Attorney Hawks could just remind us that we don't need to recuse ourselves about meeting minutes if we did not attend a meeting and, that rundown.
Correct. I see that a lot with BCCs, but if a member has not attended the previous meeting, you can still vote on approving the minutes.
Thank you. I definitely was recusing myself often. But you don't need to. Okay, thank you. So as part of I asked Karen to help me create something that would track leadership updates throughout the year. So you'll see attached in Legistar to our agenda today, this document. So as we're working to accomplish things, you'll see those things move down to completed. But it's a place for us, at least for me, I need to go back and see what in the world did we work on throughout the year? What did we all accomplish together? So this document is supposed to serve in that way. Okay, so just going from that document that you can see attached to the meeting item. So I'll just give a couple updates. So the first one is on community engagement. So myself, Vice President Glenn, met with the president or chair and vice chair for the county board, as well as the vice president for the Madison School Board. The goal was to start a new leadership tradition where every year new common council leadership will reach out to those two bodies at least and just do a leadership roundtable, have a discussion about how we can better work together. So what came out of that discussion a little bit is that we discussed better communication and collaboration among the three bodies. We also agreed to meet quarterly Supervisors are going to encourage other supervisors to get connected with their electeds, especially other alders. The county is saying that they're using more of their affordable housing fund dollars to create affordable housing outside of the city of Madison. So that's sort of important for them to do right now. So Vice President Glenn, did you want to add anything from that discussion? It was a nice hour or so conversation. Oops, let me try, I forgot to turn you on, there we go.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great to sit down, break bread. That always makes it better. But there was a lot of conversation around how do we collaborate? How do we keep the lines of communication open? Also, President Madison was really great in talking about the bigger picture for what it looks like for funding things outside of the city of Madison. What does it look like, and what does the county do for resources when we see things around houses and people that don't have them? And is there a conversation that could get started with reaching out to other municipalities? So it was just a really, really great start for us to get to know each other.
Yep.
And start building trust.
Yes, absolutely. So hopefully the next Common Council president will pick up that same charge and just schedule that meeting. So the next thing around community engagement, Clyde Mayberry founded The House Inc. It is a Black-owned dance studio serving mostly Black young people on the west side of Madison. We're going to go over on June 16th for a listening session to hear what young people would like for us to prioritize in our work and learning more about what's important to them. I've sent that invite out to Vice President Glenn, to Alder Ugair, Alder Pritchett, and Alder Okowitz, because I know you've had some young people challenges, so that might be a good opportunity for you as well. So yeah, that's been confirmed for June 16th. And then council in the community, I know in our conversations leading up to council elections, we talked a lot about how we can better engage with folks we may not hear from quite often. One idea that Alder or Vice President Glenn shared with me is doing a little bit more to get high school students here. And so I would encourage everyone to get to know, or at least reach out to your high schools, learn whether or not they have civics classes, and inviting them to take part in Common Council or attend a meeting or attend CCEC. I am pretty open and flexible to help navigate that conversation. So feel free to CC me on the conversation, I don't mind. We are in process of discussing how it might look to have a Common Council meeting out in the community. There's a lot of moving parts. And so we're having that discussion now that may take, another month or so to bring something back here to talk about it. But that part's still being fleshed out. Where it comes to digital inclusion, I'm going to volunteer Alder Lankella, hopefully, to follow up on this part. But so I'm gonna pivot to Karen on what that might look like about reviewing the recommendations for TFOGs and the Digital Inclusion Task Force on what that discussion looks like briefly.
Oh, I think that, so if Alder Lankella takes up the assignment, I can send you over the reports that have been done on the topic so you can see the work that's been done. And then I think maybe you'll have a conversation and see where you want to go next, maybe. Yeah.
Because in this CCEC, it's all about us taking on the work together collaboratively. Okay, so moving on to Juneteenth plans. So maybe a month or two ago, I worked on the Juneteenth resolution. It is very much youth-oriented. I've reached out to, in partnership or working with Yolanda Shelton Morris, and Vice President Glenn shared with some of the neighborhood centers in her area. But the goal is to have community centers and other community orgs nominate a young person to come into Common Council to accept the resolution and, speak a couple words about their own leadership. If you can be available around between 5 and 5:30, we're also asking the young people to arrive early, to network with us a little bit. I think it'll also help to, bring down their stress potentially, but also to meet their alder, meet the mayor, whomever else is here. Once I think everybody is due to submit their nominations by the 22nd. Once we have them, then I'll reach out and share if we have young people from your districts and or community centers from your district. So you can also be prepared to meet your young person and maybe introduce them, and should you like to do that. Okay, I got that part done. All right. So also for Juneteenth, the flag raising, it's an annual tradition. This year, it's on June 2nd at noon at City County Building, so CCB. Just a reminder that the Madison Senior Center mural celebration is on June 24th at 10:30. I've also organized a tour of the Black Excellence and Culture Center this Friday at 4 p.m. Even if you went before, you can come again. It's not a big deal. I didn't get to see it because I had a neighborhood meeting to get to. The other part in the community engagement piece is collaborating with the libraries to distribute information about upcoming council meetings. That's in progress. We had a couple of conversations. Larissa is working on having something to come back to us to preview soon. But the entire idea is to create some slides to get our upcoming meetings out on the library screens. Because when you move around the city, you just don't know, you're not really seeing when your next common council meeting is. Okay, under Alder Education and Resources. So this year, I really just wanted to focus on, based on the conversations that I've had with you all leading up to council elections, is to focus on Alder-related education and resources for the year and increasing our engagement with folks that we don't often hear from. Maybe residents who are renters, residents on fixed incomes, and especially young people. So that's what this year will look like in partnership with you all. Did I miss something? You're over there just a scribbling. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, and Alder Pods. Everybody saw their new Alder Pod. Yay. No. So the idea is, in talking to you all leading up again to April, no one sort of stood out and said, yay, let's champion the mentorship model. Let's keep it going. It was sort of, maybe not working. So I thought most of us meet with each other. Like, for a quick example is I had a conversation with Alder Okowitz, and I learned so much about landmarks. And I'm like, we should build on how we're already working together. And so the Alder Pods are meant for you to have some learning targets for the next couple months where you could work together on those things. You can do any one first. If you don't want to start with, IT, start with the media one, for example. Or meeting with Dylan and Attorney Haas to talk about, navigating conversations with the local press, for example. So the goal is not to exhaust you and give you extra meetings, but to have you work with someone in partnership to, whether you're sharing tips about how you manage your email or you're learning tips and tricks from IT about managing your email. So Alder Pods are really an opportunity for you all to learn about something together or just to fine tune your skills together. Don't forget to give your feedback on the capital budget to the mayor. Karen's working on all the Alder media training resources. And there's auto reply for council inbox and all Alder's email list. That's also in progress, I think. Under progress updates and next steps, I think we're still figuring this part out, but clarifying the code of ethics potentially regarding prediction markets. I didn't know that was a thing, and so I've asked the attorney's office to maybe work with me on a draft to bring back to CCEC. Did not know that was a thing until recently. As someone who very much is process oriented, so remember, everything that we complete will move down to completed. So one thing that has been completed, that is done, is on your Alder pages. You should all now be able to find the schools in your districts and the contact information. So I know in last year's run of council, there was an Alder or two who mentioned, how to find their schools. So we've made it very easy. You could just go to your Alder page and figure out who's in your district and how to reach them. I think, except for future agenda, we'll do that later, because then I'll sign up Alder UGARE for something. Okay. Are there any questions? I know I was pretty quickly, so we can have a little bit of our time. Yes. Alder Okowitz.
For the Alder Pods, is the idea that we're going to be with the same person rotating topics, but we're not going to be rotating membership of the pods?
So the idea is to stay with your pod or the person you're paired with and work on those topics together. Okay. So after, I think I put through the end of July. So, August 1, I'll share some new targets. And the targets really are coming from conversations with you all.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Hopefully that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Are there other questions about my handy dandy leadership flow? I'm seeing smiles. Okay. Thank you. All right, so our next item is Common Council Office updates from Karen.
Thank you very much. And just a reminder on the pods, I am happy to assist in finding resources, hooking you up with staff in other departments, et cetera. So don't hesitate to ask for help. All right. My update. Got your out of, I always put, just for the new folks, we've got the staff out of office. If I get a heads up, I'll try to give you all a heads up if I find out before the next time we meet, so that you have some sense of where we are, especially with Debbie. I think you need to, my tip and trick here is particularly pay attention to Debbie, because if she's out, it changes the amount of time for your neighborhood meetings. So it's always good to be in as much in advance as much as humanly possible, but also pay attention, because when she does take vacation, it does, we're cross-trained now, but she's the expert. So, if you want Debbie level treatment, plan ahead. Otherwise, we'll figure it out. All right. I am putting, so we've been trying to highlight Alder resources a bit more so that folks remember, and also, our memories are refreshed as to some of the things that we have. So this time I am highlighting honoring resolutions and civic recognition awards. You have handouts in your folders as well of some documents. I sent those to everyone as well on email for those of you who prefer that. And it was in the handbook, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to keep reminding folks because there's so much information. So we're just going to keep putting things on rotation. So sorry if you are like, I know this one. I think, so this is a really nice reminder. And there's a lot more information in the documents that I handed out, so like procedures. And then I have some project updates. We've got the retreat scheduled for September 19th. The new Alders participated in their new Alder retreat, so ABBA was able to combine a number of key topics so that they're sort of brought up to speed with you all so that we can all participate together in September. I'm President, what's the term for former president? President Emeritus? That's not as exciting. I like President Emeritus. That sounds very nice. Emerita? Emerita. Okay. I put Latin. I'm very excited about this. President Emerita Vitiver had a request that we have integrated into our planning for the retreat for 2026 to include also work with Christy Kumar and her updates. She's doing a number of updates to the equity analysis tool planning, and so she'll be involved in that as well as ABBA. We are going to be keeping you updated on the work that the BCC steering group is doing. Right now, it's now up to me and Isaac to get this it's like a sort of a basic orientation guide for new BCC staff to help them think through these sorts of things. So you may know, some of you who've been involved in this will know that there's all this information of varying ages and all over the place. And so this is an effort to try to let someone just kind of go through and be like, oh, good, okay, these are the basics. And I know Attorney Haas and his folks have been working hard on some BCC specific videos that will help staff and that sort of thing. You all received an update to the expense account guidance on fundraisers, galas, and other networking events. That was an email sent on 4/30. I'm going through everything with a fine-tooth comb in the full document based on a few more pieces of feedback that I got, and also trying to deal with the formatting on that. So an exciting, complete expense account guidance is coming. It's coming. But in the meantime, you can just ask me. So I had mentioned earlier that I've been trying to go back to some of the work groups that Alders had put time into to see if there was anything we could with this sort of issue of council support for for alders, all the questions that we've been asking as part of the other project. Oh, I didn't put that on here. The other project y'all gave me last CCC, Isaac and I are working away on that one. I'll update you at our next CCC. But as part of that, I've been thinking, okay, what can we do, right? Because one thing that I noticed in my analysis of your emails is that city accounts account for quite a large number of your total emails. So one thing that occurred to me is perhaps alders do not necessarily need the emails from Fleet that tell you that this such and such location is not working right now. Oh, it's working now. Oh, it's not working. Now it's working. And so I went ahead, I got presidential approval here. I went ahead and asked Fleet if they would be willing to remove alders from that notification. Of course, if anyone within the sound of my voice, any alder within the sound of my voice really wants it back, I will absolutely share that information with Fleet. I encourage you, if you are going to borrow a city vehicle, to use one of our EVs, because it's an opportunity to use an EV. That's how I look at it. Anyway, I just wanted to, it's a small thing, I know, but this is the sort of thing. And if you put yourself in the shoes of not just yourself, but every one of them, go through your districts 1 to 20. And if you say there is not one person in one district that I can imagine would like to receive email X from the city, please let me know. I'm taking feedback. Now, that's different than I personally can't stand getting emails from this on topic X, because usually they're sending to all alders. So I think they're mostly using the all alders account. So I will take all feedback, but please go through and think through everyone and think, is there a circumstance under which this is valuable? And if you're like, probably not, go ahead and send me your thoughts, and we'll keep chipping away at it. I will have some more updates on email management as we get closer to budget. Little teaser. All right. Larissa has sent out signups for tabling. I know some of you went to Madison Night Market and did some tabling. Thank you very much. I hope it was fun. We are also it's a big goal of mine to get these meet and greets booked early for the whole season. And so you will be getting emails. I cross-referenced, we have groups, regional groups. I cross-referenced everybody's committees to the best of my ability. And then it's a matter of hoping that nobody has planned any vacations and we can do this. So we're trying. Please keep responding to them as we're sorting them out. We've got a couple of them, so there's a few groups of you that are in the clear, but there are some groups that we're still trying to find. And then I just would really, this is a big goal. It's just a good idea. Everyone can plan around it then. And then our Aspire interns begins on June 8th. So we have a full-time summer intern, which is fun. And you can reach out to Isaac if you have projects or project ideas that you'd like them to spend some time on, and I will do that. So does anyone have any? Oh, and I'm going to be out. I'm not going to put this on the whole public record about where I'm going, but you saw that I'm on vacation for a week. Doesn't mean you won't be able to find me. Just means,
Any questions for Karen? Vice President Glenn.
Thank you, President. I don't mean to spoil I see Alder Field just responded to one, and I'm gone and hadn't updated. So I'm looking, and I just updated my calendar. So now if you find a date, it's updated. Sorry. The other question is, where would someone find the balance of their Alder account?
That's a great question. So Liz sends out a newsletter, and in that newsletter, I think quarterly she'll provide you with your balances because she has to give you customized balances. So she will send those out regularly. And then in the meantime, you email Liz and ask her for your balance, and she'll be able to then provide you with your balance at any given moment. But she also just doesn't wait for folks. She just will give you quarterly updates in her newsletter as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alder Zhang.
Have fun on your vacation. Feels like you need it. But my question is, if I'm going to be out of town, is there a way to mark that on my calendar, or besides just emailing and notifying council staff?
That's a great question. If you are using your Outlook, your district account Outlook, which is a wonderful thing if you can do it, you can go ahead and mark yourself out of office on that. Certainly, we appreciate the heads up, because I know sometimes folks will call looking for one of you, and if we know you're not around, we can let them know, Alder so-and-so is out. They are expected to be back whenever. So that it kind of gives you a little, they're not ignoring you, they're out. So I don't know if that helps at all, because we internally, if an alder tells us that they'll be out, we keep track of it on our internal calendar so that we know. And then if you're going to miss your committees, then you send an email to the staff of the different committees, letting them know that you will be absent for that particular committee date. And if you're going to miss a CCEC or a council meeting, let me know and I'll get that information to where it needs to go.
Okay. Second question, I don't think this is directly related, but I have calendar invites that I think were for my predecessor. Can I ask staff to remove those, or what?
It depends on what it is. All alders get calendar invites to all of the type 1 committees. So you may find that you're getting calendar invites to committees, a few committees that you're not presently assigned to. Those are type 1. So there's a handful, and I can, send you some.
Is that like finance and transportation?
Yep, you're always going to get finance, because really we want everyone all alders, if they can at all make it to finance, everyone who's listening. We really would like you to, especially around budget or anything budget related. So finance, transportation, ALRC, plan, these are CCEC, they're going to come to you. And honestly, it's nice because you never know when something is going to pop up, and you find yourself going, so it gives you a panelist invite, so you don't have to do any work for that invite. So you can just leave it tentative. If you're absolutely sure you don't want to go, you can decline it. But that's what it's for, is to be able to. But again, finance is one that I always like to really push. And then,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Alder Okowitz.
Yeah, on the emails and meetings, it would be nice if there was like an internal list of meetings that we could use instead of getting emailed all of them, so that.
Sorry, can you clarify which meetings you're?
Well, but they send us links as not as registrants, as panelists that we can use that aren't publicly available. And so having those be available would be nice in terms.
They're individualized to you.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a good point. And if you're looking at it's a good point. If you're looking at a type 2 meeting, which again, we can go into detail at another time, it's one thing. And I have thoughts on how, whatever, it doesn't matter. But for type 1, they're individualized to you specifically. So that's not going to be a collective list. It's going to be literally the Alder Okowitz list. So.
Well, it seems like the learning target around IT is perfect timing. Okay, so are there any... Thanks, Karen, for the Common Council updates or Alphas updates. So do you all have any future agenda items before I add my own? Any future agenda items? I am shocked. Yeah, I was about to say. Alder Vitever?
Just a reminder that we had asked Isaac to continue looking at how different cities are dealing with growth, and so that'll just be a future
Yep.
assessment when it's complete.
That's on the list. Any others before? Nope. Okay, so I know in looking at your surveys on what you all wanted to, potentially see presentations on, one thing I want to, if you have any feedback for our presentation style, I would definitely accept it now, because I would love to see them be a bit more back and forth, a little bit more maybe panel discussion type. But does anybody have any feedback before I task Alder Uguer in helping me with something?
You're talking about council discussions, not
Yes.
CCEC necessarily.
Yeah, I'm sorry, for council presentations, like presentations to the full body. Any additional feedback anybody want to share? Alder Zhang?
Are there guidelines on the structure of the presentations?
It's really up to the Common Council president, but I really want to do it in partnership with you all and receive some feedback. You can email it to me as well.
An example of a presentation would be like the parks one that we just had.
Yep, sort of.
Full council.
But it'll be to the full body.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. All right, any future agenda items? So there was some consistency in folks wanting to get a presentation on the, I guess, a combination of the development process, affordable housing, and TIF. So I'll likely circle back to Alder Uguer, figure out how we might structure a presentation that's lively, is what I'll say. And then I know there was some discussion in the surveys about public safety and community-based approaches. So I'll be looking to Alder Okowitz to see what you've picked up as of late that we might use to help structure that. And bringing back in just a quick review to remind us of our list of items that were kind of on our rolling list, to bring that back at our next meeting, just to have a brief discussion on what we're not going to take up this year. So what we will and what we won't, potentially. Okay, I was going to say last call, which I am saying. Any other future agenda items?
Did you say John?
John Uguer, yep.
For,
Planning Development, TIF.
okay.
Okay, so that was the last item on the agenda, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is there any objection to record a unanimous vote for adjournment? Seeing no objections, we will record a unanimous vote to adjourn. Thank you.